Okay, we're going live. Here we go. 3, 2.
We ready right now.
Lead it.
All I know is this violates every canon of respectable broadcasting.
How are you?
Hey, who wants to help me get this recorder out of here? I need some muscle over here.
You are listening to Blame Your Brother.
Hello, Internet. Welcome back to another episode of Blame Your Brother. That's right, your favorite podcast. We are back once again, back on Thursday nights, 8 p.m. Central Standard Time. So come hang out with us. Big guest tonight, huge guest. Shane Morris is going to join us in about 15 minutes. So if you came for that show, stick around. It will be well worth it. One of our more interesting guests we've ever had.
So yes.
Not that he's watching right now in the green room or anything, but hey, whatever. Yes, now it's going to be fun with Shane, but you know, we have to do an intro as usual. So let's just get that knocked out of the way. There are two of us that come to you every week. I'm one half of that duo. I am David, aka D Brew, voice of people, Miss 40%, Glenn Jackson, spiritual midget, Mr. Wonderful. And I sit next to this gentleman on the left. It's John.
Hey, everybody, John here, a.k.a. Tico, a.k.a. Mr. Groupon, the space case in your face, Mr. PTI, the madman.
They got John Tortorella, a madman. They do. Okay, he's a madman.
All right. Well, that's us. Blame Your Brother. We're going to get started. So I hung out with our old co-host last weekend. Lee is brother to blame, as most of you know him. We went and saw some past guests on the show at the Sutler. We saw Jen Starsinic and Trapper Haskins perform together, and it was magical. So if you don't know, Jen Starsinic came on to promote her album, Bad Actor, one of my favorite artists in the world now. Then Trapper, I met through my brother-in-law. Then he came on the show during our 24-hour stream. Now I'm a huge fan of his as well. And it's just seeing those together. So it was kind of like a round-robin acoustic jam type thing. And so Trapper would play a song, Jen would play a song, and so they would do that back and forth. And in between all this, Jen Starsinic had brought a fiddle, and she started playing fiddle along with Trapper songs, which she had never heard before. So that was quite a treat. That was it was a tasty treat right there. So I would just say, if you've never heard of either of those artists, definitely go check them out. They're fantastic.
Yes, definitely.
So that was a fun time. Went with Lee. We hung out. We had a couple of drinks, and then we decided to go to the 5 spot after that. And we went to the 5 spot, hung out, and it was interesting for sure. Let's just say it was a good show, and shenanigans were had, and I ended up realizing that I'm 44 and probably way too old to hang out till 3 or 4 in the morning, unlike my brother who decided he was. So I don't know. You work midnights, John, but when's the last time you went and like hung out?
The latest I've hung out was probably with you when we went to Counting Crows.
Okay.
Because we kind of know. Yeah. We went out a little bit.
Oh yeah, we hung out.
afterwards.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, but that's been a while.
That was I think 2017.
Okay. Yeah, that's been some years.
So yeah,
it hits harder when you are older, for sure. It's not much fun. So, but yeah, I mean, let's just say we went to the 5 spot. Well, a fight almost broke out. Made some new friends, as you always tend to when you're drinking and having a good time. And Lee always tends to make good friends, new friends. So, hung out with some new people, and that was it. So that was the weekend pretty much for me. After that, I needed the entire weekend to recover. So I don't know what's going on with you. You are going out of town.
Yes.
Starting tomorrow.
Yeah.
Where are you headed to?
We are going to Myrtle Beach. We're going to spend one night in Columbia, South Carolina. And then on the way back, we're going to spend a night in Asheville.
Okay. Nice. I was just in Nashville 6 months ago, maybe. Even if that long. But that's a nice little place to check out.
We want to check out the Biltmore.
Yeah. It's funny because someone we follow on social media was just at the Biltmore today. So that's small world. I guess it's a hot spot. So, especially for people who live in this part of town. But yeah, man, that was, it's going to be a good time for you.
Yeah.
I guess the dreaded thing is, you work in an industry where if you're not there, someone's going to pick up your slack, right? So it doesn't really, in that instance, when you take off, you kind of take off for the week. But like a lot of people, like myself, my wife, we are the one person that does our specific job. So when we take off that week, we come in and there's a week worth of work.
I anticipate there's going to be some stuff for me to do when I come back.
It's insane. It doesn't make any sense. It almost destroys the expectations of a vacation, right?
Yeah, you should be able to like just check out, and when you return, pick up where you left off, and not have to do what was not done over the week. It's short of a miracle that I'm able to take this vacation. My last day off was April 10th.
Okay.
So
that's a long time, you know. So
I'll let you folks do the math there. And so the fact that I have the last 2 nights I've been training someone, and tonight I'm training him for one last night, and hopefully he can handle it.
Not your problem once you leave, as I look at it. I mean, once you bounce, that's it, bro. That's the beginning of the end.
I don't anticipate me showing him how to Rolodex works in the computer, so he won't call me.
Don't have my number.
No.
All right. Well, I mean, that's a recap of the week. So I think we should just get the guest on and just see what happens. We're gonna hope this works. You know, this is but right here, right now, should be the one and only Shane Morris. Shane, are you there?
I've arrived.
All right. He's loud and proud, and we love it. All right. So, yes, Shane Morris back on the program. I think you've made, is this your third appearance? Am I doing the math that right, John?
Yeah, I did your 24-hour podcast-a-thon. No, so this is my second time on, because the first time I was on was just the podcast-a-thon, but I was on for like an hour, and I want to say it was like 2 or 3 a.m. It was some crazy late time just to be on a podcast, but I thought it was kind of fun just because I'd never seen a 24-hour marathon, so I enjoyed it when I was there.
Well, thanks, man.
Yes,
thank you for that. No, it was, I would say, your energy at 2 a.m, because that is when you're doing a 24-hour stream and you start at 8 p.m. 2 a.m. is one of those low spots you hit where you're just like, I need some energy bringing forth.
If you don't get that energy, you're like, okay, this might have been a mistake.
It's a huge mistake.
And so, your energy and, I mean, your insight, and you're a really funny guy and smart to boot. And so you really kept the ball rolling when we needed help pushing it. So.
Yeah, it's 2 a.m. energy. You know, it's, some people have it. You know, it took years and years of getting around the bars of East Nashville to really just cement that ability to surge at 2 a.m. at the right time. But I'm glad it's a skill I honed, and it has not served me well at all in life.
So if people are just checking this out now, they're either watching or they're downloading this episode and they're like, Shane Morris, who is Shane Morris? What is your bio you would give to people? Who is Shane Morris?
You know, I like to think of myself as a journeyman, right? So I spent a lot of my early career working in the music business, and I worked with a really cool artist. You know, I'm not going to name drop because it's tacky, but the Google machine is there. And, I'm a technology specialist, or I care about engineering and coding and being on the bleeding edge. So right now in my current role, which is not in the music business, I've fully transitioned away now. I am an artificial intelligence and machine learning engineer for a large defense contractor. I say it out loud sometimes and it sounds terrible. I feel like I'm working for like the man, but honestly, I really just think that I don't like putting any kind of one title on myself, because I like being worldly. I like writing. I'm a screenwriter with WGA West. I like to write code. I like to read a ton. I really think that when I try to put myself in one thing, it annoys the hell out of me. I'm not on Twitter anymore. I got banned after I told the president to die in a fire, the old president, not the new one. So January 6th was not a good day for me or a lot of other people. And then, now I'm on TikTok. So, you can find me on TikTok, where I do really well. I've got 40,000 followers now on TikTok, and people are really enjoying it. I love the format there. So hopefully I don't get kicked off of TikTok for telling a president to die in a fire for at least another 4 years. Could be a little longer. We'll see how screwed up the country is.
Oh, yeah. Okay, so you're obviously making us sign up for TikTok because I say there's a handful of people on Twitter that you really stick around for. You were definitely one of them, and when you left, that sucked. So I guess I'm gonna have to get a freaking TikTok account. I had one, I deleted it, and now I guess I'm gonna have to just go back just to follow people. How did you figure out TikTok like that? Because I got on it and I realized at some point I understand it, but I'm not gonna be able to accomplish anything with this platform. It's a lot different than Twitter. I mean, how did you grasp it?
Yeah, so Twitter is very much, I felt like it, like in retrospect, at least now, Twitter was like a dunkathon where someone says something stupid and then I could quote tweet it and, you know, I could be there. But I feel like TikTok is a better medium for me because, and I'm not trying to pick on people on Twitter because I've met some popular Twitter personalities, right? And when I meet them in person, these are really boring, not thoughtful, not smart people, right? And so they're just good on the internet because they have time to think. Like on TikTok, I feel like I'm more successful because I mean, I just shaved my head recently, but you know, like I have like gold teeth and like I have a way of delivering information that I think people like. And then I'm varied. I can get into science TikTok. I can talk about nuclear energy. I can talk about, you know, I covered monotremes. You guys know what monotremes are, by the way?
Not at all. But we're
about monotremes. You're about to find out. So monotremes are the classification of mammal that no one thinks about. So there's marsupials and placentals and monotremes. So you know what a placental is? It's like us. We give birth naturally. There's marsupials like kangaroos and possums that have like the little pouches on them. And then there's monotremes, egg-laying mammals. There's two of them in the world. Platypus and the echidna. I think I'm saying that right. But anyway, pretty crazy. They only exist in like Tasmania and Australia. They're an evolutionary weird thing, but egg-laying mammals. I feel like that needed to be on the internet, so I made a TikTok about it. And of course, it blows up because obscure, stupid stuff blows up on TikTok. So yeah, that's the kind of content that people really want. If you're coming for hard-hitting, monotreme content, you come to my TikTok and you're going to find it.
So what's your TikTok then? People want to know, right? In the chat, they're going, I love TikTok. So what?
Oh, yeah. It's shanemorris.sucks, but the dot is spelled out. It's like my website, shanemorris.sucks, but it's just shanemorris.sucks. So
okay,
yeah, write it all down. DOT, shanemorris.sucks. And it's fun. And the other thing is TikTok's a content graph. It's not about who you follow. It's about whatever's the most popular content on the platform that day. So, you know, like sometimes I'll get a video blow up and get 1 million views. And that's happened a couple times now. So I'm like, all right, I'm going to keep doing it. Although I haven't been on TikTok for the past couple days, just because I'm still recovering from, well, I got hand, foot, and mouth disease from my son. Yeah, it's like this weird chicken pox kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it was kind of brutal. I didn't enjoy that. Don't do that. Kids are fun.
Yeah, actually, it's funny you say that because at work, a woman who works in the next office came in and she goes, "Have you guys ever heard of hand?" She said hand, hoof, mouth or something. And we're like, hand, hoof, mouth? What, have you discovered a new disease? And she was saying hand, foot, mouth. And a lot of parents don't know about this. I think one of my kids had it many years ago. And I was like, wait, are we just giving up on names now? Like we're just calling things like hand, foot, mouth, but it's kind of gnarly. You know, it's not a good thing to happen. So, well, I'm glad you're recovering from that, but you know, you just got to stay on that content. Now, so you got your start back in the MySpace days. Did you know, I mean, what age did you know, like, I'm going to be able to grab these social media platforms and then become popular on them? Because it seems everyone you kind of grab, you get it, you know, even with Twitter, you went viral, you know, we can talk about that if you want, but you know, you were huge on all these platforms. Is this something you realized at a young age or how, I mean, because people want to know, like, you get on YouTube and search, how do I become famous on YouTube? There's 10,000 million videos. They all say the same thing. It's like blah, blah, blah. I mean, how did you know you were able to do this?
So I think once you've engineered them for understanding what their internal metrics are. So every single content platform, and I'm doing pretty well in Clubhouse. I just started on Clubhouse and I'm already doing well there, right? So every single platform, when you think about it from the engineering perspective and how their internal metrics hit, they're looking for inventory. So Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Clubhouse, TikTok, YouTube here, they only care how long you spend on the platform. You know, total time on site, that's how many ads they can show you. And so once you understand what their mechanisms are that keep you on their platform, you can think about how you create content that's going to keep people coming back to your profile or engaging them on the platform. And then algorithmically now, all of these platforms are doing this. They will reward you for keeping people on their platform. So you need to be able to design your content for the internal goals of them delivering ads. And so on TikTok, I want to say I make incendiary, inflammatory content, but I know how to structure it within the first 3 seconds to make sure I am, saying you need to, like I'm doing the thing that I know that people are going to engage with on a psychological level. So there's the psychographic profile I'm going to engage, and then I'm going to try and get to that first 5 seconds to get them through, at which point I think they're trying to hit 15-second intervals. Theory, at least, Chad, I don't know. But the end goal being, I know that from an engineering standpoint, I've been there. I engineer algorithms for a living, so it's not hard for me to put myself in those engineer shoes. And it's always been that way. Twitter was a tougher nut to crack just because they reward early adopters. So a lot of the journalists that were there like, 2009. I mean, I was there pretty early, but early adopters really did have the leg up there. The thing I like about TikTok, it being a content graph, is that I can blow up on anybody's profile at any time. I just have to create the right kind of content. So I do. And as long as you do those things, and there will always be another social media platform. There's going to be something after TikTok. And I think I've just made peace with the fact that I'm going to join them all. I thought TikTok was stupid when I first joined it. And then I was like, you know what? I'm going to bite the bullet and try and be good at this. Plus my friend Taylor works there. So she was the one who encouraged me to get on it. And she was like, look, you'd be really good at this. You just need to apply yourself. That's one of the worst things a friend can say to you, by the way, is, hey, Shane, I know you could ruin people's lives. Please join this social media platform that I work for. And so, but yeah, it's true. I thank you. So Taylor, by the way, if you end up watching this, thank you.
Yeah. My wife is like, not, this is what I love about it. She's like, I'm not on TikTok, but she'll watch reels on Instagram. I'm like, well, I mean, those were just taken from TikTok, right? So, and I work with a guy who was watching TikTok so much, the app literally told him, I think it's time for you to stop watching now. So I was like, dude, okay. It is a time suck. You're right. It's fun. And I think those tips are great. Basically what I heard from all that was a lot of advice, but you better get their attention in the first 3 seconds or they're going to bounce out of there, which is probably not a bad thing. Now, you said you've potentially joined all social media platforms. Did you dip your toe into the Parler world at all?
I did. Yeah. And I'm on, what's the new one? It's not Parler. You know what? It's the new one that what's his name created. Let me tell you, I've had a fun time on this one. It is Getter.
Stop.
Yeah, so I'm on Getter. So I've been logged out. Oh, somebody reported my account. Oh man. I was Blacktail magazine on Getter. It was a popular black adult magazine. And I guess they're not as. We're finding out now that they're not the free speech platform that they said they were.
No,
they said that they were free speech, and look at me just trying to represent the interests of the African American adult male community with Blacktail magazine, a magazine with integrity, I might add, magazine with integrity.
All the integrity. What did you learn from Parler? I mean, how?
Parler's a black hole. When I did I tell you guys about Georgia election integrity? Did you guys know about this?
No.
So I created this site, GeorgiaElectionIntegrity.com, during the special election in Georgia. So post general election, going to the special election in Georgia, I realized that I could tremendously impact the outcome of the election in Georgia if I just created a honeypot site for Republicans. So I made GeorgiaElectionIntegrity.com, and I had all the Stop the Steal stuff on there and a bunch of quotes from Sydney, whatever her name was, and then Lynn Wood, and we made supercuts. I had a whole team of people. There's 8 of us that worked on this site. We cut videos together. It was gorgeous. So I end up amassing, we had 450,000 views on this site. I mean, it was a really high traffic site, and we were promoting it on Parler. So as a funny thing with regards to dead people voting and dead people's IDs, we couldn't join and get a verified Parler account without using a real ID. And it just so happened one of the guys I worked with, his father just passed away. So we used a dead guy's ID to verify our profile on Parler. So we were able to get on Parler, create a spoof verified account, and get all of this misinformation out there using a dead guy's driver's license. So dead people don't technically vote, but they do influence elections. And I want to thank my friend's father for and the real irony is he was like this really hardcore old school neocon Bush supporting Republican.
Oh,
So
no.
I love it. Like at least his son did the right thing.
That's
true.
true.
And for his father.
Now, someone who may or may not be your wife is in the chat. She wants to know, or she's putting stuff out there. She said, that you did meet your wife on Twitter, so you better.
I did. This is true. I met my wife on Twitter. This is a fact.
But she did just type one word, social media platform, Grinder. You don't have to confirm nor deny it. It's fine. It's either way it goes.
You don't know the joke behind this, right? So a lot of my friends, so in our car, when I have my Apple CarPlay plugged in, when someone calls me, their first and last name pops up, and I realized this. And so I changed a lot of my friends' last names to Grinder. So when I'm in the car with my wife and someone calls, it's like Alex Grinder, Devin Grinder, because I don't know if you've ever been on a dating profile and you label them with Tinder or whatever.
Yeah.
But I thought it would be a nice little Easter egg for the wife. And the first time she was like, "The hell," and then she was like, "Wait a minute, I'm married to you. I know what's happening here. You're screwing with me."
Yeah, I think she probably caught on to that with many things. It's if you're looking for a way to get practical jokes on your wife, that is one way to go. Now, there was a time when Jason Steen told John that he had created an actual Grinder account for him and was making fake pictures, and John was like, "You were petrified, right?"
I was a little scared.
But it was all a prank, so it was all good. So I don't think we'd be amiss without talking about Mr. Jeff Bezos real quick, who allegedly, I guess, went to space. I mean, I don't know. I've heard what are your thoughts on Bezos in general being a kind of an entrepreneur and a guy who's an engineer, and what do you think about this entire news story about him going to space?
I think it's kind of interesting because we'll go back to Wernher von Braun, right? So our entire rocket engineering program was really founded back in 1941 1942 by Nazi scientists like Wernher von Braun, who created the V1 and the V2 rockets. So these are the guys that created the real background technology for all modern rocketry. These are rocket engineers. Don't call them rocket scientists, by the way. They prefer to be called rocket engineers. And you go down to Huntsville, Alabama, if you guys ever get the chance, go to the NASA Center down there and learn all about the Nazi scientists that we absorbed into the NASA community in order to take their technology after World War II. And then they were the ones that really took us to the moon. So I think that these accomplishments are interesting, but they're still less incredible to me than what we were doing in the late 60s with less powerful computers. So now I have to be impressed that billionaires like Branson and Bezos are just going to the edge of space or whatever. Forgive me for not caring. It's just congratulations, you got rich enough to put yourself on a rocket, but you're not breaking any new ground here. That's the truth of it. They're doing what we were doing in the early 1960s with, pre-Apollo NASA programs. Cool, bro. You made enough money that you can, and that's the story here is that there are people in America now wealthy enough to mirror NASA's budget. And if that doesn't give you a moment of pause, there are people wealthy enough that they are competing with NASA for rocketry. So that should probably just be that little nudge that says, maybe we tax them a little bit more so they have less free time on that. Can't you just be can he be a normal billionaire? And he's a recently divorced guy, right? By the way, his wife's got the ultimate outcome here where his ex-wife, excuse me, imagine getting a divorce and then the next thing that happens to your ex is they try and launch themselves into space. I'm sure she was thinking oh, so close. He could have been gone forever.
For sure. Yeah, for sure.
The ultimate divorce outcome.
It's just very funny that, people, really the news media kind of went crazy for this story. It was the first time we ever went to the moon. I'm just the guy barely cleared space. I mean, I believe if I was hearing a news story, there's some planes that have been higher up in the air than the altitude he achieved. I don't understand their I mean, I guess it's because it's something that most people will never
I think it's
achieve.
because he's still considered a civilian.
Right. Well, I guess.
But I mean, there's got to be another classification for someone that is that rich that can. I mean, I'm almost surprised that there aren't laws that prohibit that from happening without having the backing of some kind of government program.
Yeah, I don't know. It's odd. I mean, I would.
I mean, if me and you can't technically legally operate a drone without having a FAA license, which I mean, if you buy a big enough drone, they practically send that to you.
Yeah, I just don't know.
But he's taking a rocket that's manned.
Yeah,
so, I mean,
I don't know. That's a good question. The real question would be, John and Shane, would you have gone on that rocket if they gave you the chance to do it?
Probably not.
Shane, what about you?
No, and this is the thing. I'd say no. Like, I think that, I remember what happened when the first time NASA tried to send a civilian into space with Kristen McCall, the teacher. The explosion happened. Like, getting on top of a rocket is not a risk-free experience. It's still an extremely high risk. Like, things blow up on these Tesla launch pads all the time. This is not an uncommon occurrence. So no, I would not strap myself to the top of a rocket. No, thank you, because there's no good outcome for me. Like, the best case scenario is people hate you and talk about you on the internet, and I can do that for free.
Yeah.
Like, I'm skilled at that. So no, I'm good.
I just find it odd that, one of the teenagers, and I'm like, would you send your teenager up in this? I mean, I just thought that was a bit odd. I was like, all right, man. Like, I mean, I get it. You got money and that's cool. But, it was an odd pairing. It was almost like I've seen the memes and I showed John before we started that there's one where somebody has photoshopped them into the Fantastic Four. And I went, this is odd because this is literally the makeup almost of the Fantastic Four. Was Bezos hoping they got hit by cosmic rays? He didn't go far enough, but I don't know what he was thinking there. It's just odd. So
I guess it's all about perspective. I mean, Matt Gaetz probably would have been really enjoying it. He'd be like, "You going to fill me in a rocket full of teenagers? All right, let's do it."
And we haven't even talked about the rocket itself, which looks like it looks like a dick. I mean, it looks like Austin Powers. I mean, and that was the other meme of the week where people were just like, bro, are you kidding me right now? Bezos bald, Austin Powers, that guy, whoever
it's
the villain.
The big boy rocket.
Right. It literally was. I'm like, man, come on, make a cool look. If you're going to do it and it's mundane, at least make the rocket look cool. You know what I'm saying? I mean, just make it look cool.
Pull a Doc Brown, put him in a DeLorean, send him into space.
And that to me is the most I call it the most least interesting part about this is that Jeff Bezos is a billionaire. If he wanted to have painted that rocket like flesh colored, no one could have told him no. And at which point I would have been like, you know what? Best thing a billionaire's ever done, because then at least I think that he's got a sense of humor about it. But instead, it was this totally serious thing where I was like, all right, dick-shaped rocket, but it's not flesh colored, so I don't care.
Yeah, it is a bit odd. We just had to I mean, it's something that happened, and it's like, all right, man, whatever happens. But now there's another story that came out this week about what happened during quarantine. And, everyone was stuck at home. Kids are with you. Kids start getting on your nerves. So what do? You have them watch TV. Well, so many children were watching Peppa Pig that children now of a certain age are using British slang and are speaking with slight British accents. I
mean, my son was doing that for a little while.
So Shane, is your son old enough to be watching Peppa Pig, or what is the show that is on in your life that is it almost becomes like torture that these show. My daughter will only watch Peppa Pig, so I'm like, I'm done with it, Yeah. But is there anything like that in your household since you have a young child?
Yeah, so I'm a basics guy. We're a Mr. Rogers family. I really enjoy Mr. Rogers, and rewatching these episodes now. I don't know if you've gone back and watched an episode or several of Mr. Rogers. They actually age incredibly well. The lessons are timeless. And these stories, to me, like, I feel like as a parent, and I've seen some of what I'll just call the nightmare fuel that exists on YouTube that children can see, like these like just crazy loud bright 3D animated things, and I'm like, whoa, this is crazy town. I'm not into
Right.
this. But Mr. Rogers is this soothing thing, and like it has an impact on my 14-month-old son where he just locks in, he's on it. And like you can tell that like he's not intimidated by it, and he's covering things that I think children think about, like going to the dentist or how to recycle bottles, just like simple things that are good life lessons. And then when I watch like literally anything else, it's just bizarre. Like I know why they do it that way, because it's lower cost programming. Like the production value of Mr. Rogers takes a crew and time, and he had like a classical music band playing his theme every day. Like I get why you don't do it, it's expensive. But I don't think I have no problem, showing my son stuff made in 1982. It's fantastic. It's still good. I like watching it. So yeah, I'm gonna stay Mr. Rogers. We'll do some Sesame Street and mix it in, but I got to stick with the classics.
No, I can see that. I mean, I know, like, I honest last time you had your computer set up and I saw a bunch of old school games, so I kind of got that. I was like, all right, I get that. You kind of throwing it back a little bit. The closest I've gotten to Mr. Rogers, I don't think my daughters watched it, but we did take a family trip up to Pennsylvania, and we got to see the Mr. Rogers Museum.
Oh, cool.
And there it was, like the tree that was there, the puppets, and it was a blast. I was like, and that documentary about him was outstanding. The one that came out a couple of years ago. So that's a very, very solid answer. So, yeah, I mean, other than that, it's been a slow news week. Other than coronavirus kind of back and maybe democracy kind of toppling. But there is one Nashville news story I want to share with you, Shane, is that one that anyone that's been here a long time knows. If you go up to Legislative Plaza, there's the bust of Nathan Bedford Forrest. It sits right there as you walk in. It's gold. It's huge. It's just staring at it. It's the first thing you see when you walk in. Well, today they voted finally to remove it from the plaza. So that actually happened today. I didn't know if you were aware of that. The statue still stands on I-65, but the bust in the plaza has been removed today. So,
and like and not a century too soon. Just
it's bizarre.
You don't want to hurry those kind of things. You got to give it time to marinate. It's a big decision. You never want to dishonor the leader of the KKK. It's just it's a real shame. I don't know how people are going to think about what bleach to use on their sheets anymore. It's such an inspiration.
It is wild that people still decide that's the hill today I'm going to die on. I'm going to die on that hill today. Like just shut up. Like, even if you feel that way in your heart, you understand when you make public tweets. Like, I think the lieutenant governor today was like, I feel this is the wrong decision to be made. This was a man that changed at the end of his life. I'm like, okay, man, that's let's step back from that one a little bit. And it was a long thread tweet. It was like 15 threads about how Forrest was this great man and how dare we try to remove him from history. And I'm like, wow. I mean, you almost, in a weird way, you almost respect that guy, because you're like, so you're letting us know who you are at least. That was the great, I'm wearing the Malcolm X hat today, but he would always say, I actually respect the Southern racists more than the Northern racists, because at least they tell me they're racist to my face. So there is some kind of irony to that. But yeah, that was a big story there. So that's it in Nashville. That things are just moving along. So we'll see what happens. Okay, so we talked about some of the stuff you've done. Let's talk about AI. Let's talk about robots. And I've always been worried since I was a young man. John, anyone that knows me, I don't worry about aliens. I don't worry about ghosts. I don't worry about all that crap, right? But I am genuinely concerned about robots. Honestly, I'm not, this is not a bit, it's not a put on. I am genuinely concerned robots one day. I've watched The Matrix. I've watched The Terminator. I've watched all these movies that basically like, here's what's going to happen. We're just like, ha, 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 that's funny. Like if there were 10,000 movies about Jurassic Park and there were dinosaurs being like, yo, we're creating dinosaurs, everyone would be like, whoa, let's back off on this. We're just like, hey, keep giving the robots more information. Can you walk me off that ledge, or are you going to push me off of it?
Well, I think being in the field, I am probably more scared than most people are, because I'm one of the people in charge of it. So we're at the confluence of two things. And right now, the machine learning systems we have don't have enough processing power. Like truly, like, you know, especially because we've got this massive GPU shortage. Like, you know, there's things in these GPUs that, you know, the Bitcoin bros love, called tensors, right? And tensors are what, you know, determine your power. And so right now tensors are just hard to come by because GPUs are hard to come by. So there's a new field called quantum computing, which I think a lot of people have thought is decades away. I think we're 3 to 5 years away. There's a company called Xanadu out of Toronto that has a room temperature stable quantum chip that you can use. And I'm one of the early testers of their Penny Lane system is what it's called. So basically, let's back this up a little bit. You know, right now we have classical computing, right? So 1 or 0, right? That's how a modern computer system works. When you think of a chip, it's just processing ones and zeros. Intel and AMD have these, you know, 7 to 10 nanometer chips, so the processes and cool. All right, still 1 or 0. So with quantum chips, things exist in a quantum state. These things called qubits, quantum bits, and everything's in a quantum superposition. So here's the interesting note about that. It can be 1 and 0 at the same time, or 1 or 0. And so in a quantum superposition, it's both at the same time, simultaneously. And this changes your computing power literally exponentially because you're not either or, you know, you've got this exponential graph. So when quantum chips become viable, you know, right now the ones that are extremely powerful have to be, you know, super cool to, like, you know, a fraction of a degree above 0 Kelvin. But, you know, but once we get them to be stable at room temperature, and we combine them with our existing, you know, AI technology, neural networks, and how we apply it, like robots today are dumb. Like truly,
right?
But robots in the future, and I mean 5 to 10 years from now, when you have that mix between quantum superpositions and quantum computing and artificial intelligence, you're talking about computers that can learn better. Hold on, what's a better word than better? In a way that sorts information more efficiently than a human brain ever can, because we get lost in the chatter. Computers are rational, only rational. So that's what I worry about. So with that said, I think that if we get in front of it, we can live in a better world, right? Because eventually we're talking about computers that are smart enough to do even the most menial labor tasks. Like, you know, the things that right now that, you know, even like farm equipment in the most advanced industrial society can't really effectively pick strawberries because they're just too small and like you need somebody to do that. Well, there are going to be robots that can do that. And then we have to just have that discussion of what happens when people don't need to work anymore, when everything is being done by robots. Like that's the discussion I think we need to be having today, right now. And I know we're not going to do it at a legislative level, but I hope we do it eventually, because I think in the very near future, we could be having discussions about like what it's like to just, what are you going to do with all your free time? You're going to paint? You're going to learn to do cartwheels. You're going to have a lot of free time because you're not going to need to work, because computers and machines should, in theory, be able to do a lot of the work for us in the very near future.
Well, what is that going to mean for capitalism, though? I mean, how is that the death of capitalism as you're describing it? If machines and automation replace most of the jobs, you know, menial jobs, which is a lot of, you know, probably a lot of the jobs in America, where would we go from there? Like, has anyone thought this out? Because it doesn't sound like anyone, you're right, on the legislative level has thought about next week, let alone 20 years from now. But if these machines, which we've seen are developing, and if we look at just from 1991 to where we're at now,
well, just in manufacturing alone,
I mean,
how many jobs are gone now because of manufacturing robots?
And I mean, at the pace of where we're at from the dawn of the internet to where we're at now is unreal. It would be like a caveman landing on the moon in 20 years. Like, what's going to happen to people? What's going to happen to money? Do you have any thoughts on that?
Yeah, so I'll give you the conceptual answer here, right? We define a labor market, right? How many hours are needed to exist of all the labor hours in the United States, right? For every single job, from a nurse, farm workers, psychologists, whatever it is, right? What are the existing labor positions? Now, there's going to be labor positions that are extremely difficult to replace by machines. And those are going to be the human level positions. Like, I think, you know, a
Customer
psychologist,
service,
yeah. I mean, if you're a psychologist, you're talking to somebody with their mental health. That's something a computer is just not going to ever do effectively because it takes being human to really do that job, right? But there are some other jobs where it can really be dialed out. I think that, you know, there's going to be some resilient jobs in the medical field, but when it comes to like cashiers, truck drivers, the two largest positions in the United States in terms of total employment, those are going to be the first jobs that get, you know, wiped out. So you just have to ask yourself, when you have a declining labor market, right, what do you do to help that labor market continue to exist and live full lives while still understanding that their profitability hasn't changed? Because the profitability from those robots stays the same. So you have to at some point build in what I will call just essential social safety nets. There's a larger discussion about UBI we should be having about just, you know, paying. I know it sounds crazy to pay people not to work, but when society becomes efficient to a point where all the work is being done by machines, people are gonna have nothing to do. Like, it's just, machines don't sleep, they don't drink, they're not hungover, they don't get sick. You know, there are just some jobs that won't be important anymore. And granted, like, let's take the restaurant business for instance, right? I got a friend in Austin who's working on a pizza making machine, right? In theory, making a pizza should be able to be done by robots. The dough gets stretched out, you put the tomato sauce, cheese toppings on, it goes into an oven, it gets put into a box. When you think about the linear motions of everything, robot arms and little devices can do that. Making a pizza can be done by machines. I don't think that they will ever be completely replaced by people, because the artisan pizza maker will always be something that somebody wants to go experience and see somebody want to make a wood-fired pizza. That's cool. But when it's, you know, I don't know, 4 p.m. on a Sunday and Dak Prescott's just thrown his 5th interception and I'm crying, I need to order a pizza, a robot's going to be able to do that more effectively than a person. You know, I'm looking for cheap pizza, not artisan pizza. I'm not looking for the experience. So I think that that's just the bigger discussion, which is understand what's coming, know that it is, and try to be ahead of it to make sure that people aren't harmed by people like me, because it is people like me who are designing these systems, right? And I don't mean to. I'm not like out there like, you know what, F that pizza guy. You know, like, that's not, you know, my problem in life. Although the pizza guy, he was looking at me funny, so now I've got to go. You know, yeah. What do you mean I can't have half pepperoni? My wife doesn't eat pork. Let's talk about this. No, I'm just kidding. But you know.
Well, I mean, it's interesting because I'm, you know, that's what I'm saying. I've never thought about that, but you're right. The drivers and the cashiers, essentially, I mean, we're not even that far removed from automated cars that drive themselves, and Amazon, speaking of our boy Bezos, have already introduced, you know, checkout centers where you never encounter a cashier. They're just checking you out based on your phone and what the product is. So it's not something that's not even been thought of. It's literally in the works right now. And that would,
well, I mean, you have self checkout now.
Yeah, but this is going to be no one in the store. So the Amazon stores are, no one's there. And so, you know, you walk out, you never pay, you never have a card, which we've all seen with, you know, Apple Pay, Google Pay, all that. I mean, it's like that on, you know, push the limit. So no one's really thought of this, but I mean, well, Shane's thought of it, obviously, but it's just crazy to think about. And you're right, UBI is going to have to factor in, and, you know, just half the country would rather die than have someone get paid to live. And it's kind of like a scary world we're living in. I keep coming back to that. I mean, you talk to people and it's like, these people need to be out working. It's like, dude, I mean, what do you want them to do? You know, like, you want them to die. You don't want them to have health insurance. Now you don't want them to have an income. It's just a weird time in America. Do you see?
I'll give you an example of one that I've actually made recently, right? One where you wouldn't think about it. I'm not going to name them because I don't want their website to get flooded, just in case people hate me. But I made a chatbot, an automated AI chatbot for apartment leasing, right? You go to an apartment leasing site, you land on the apartment company site, and there's a little chatbot that pops up and it says, what are you looking for? 2, 3 bedrooms. How many bathrooms do you need? Do you need something pet friendly? What's your price range? All right, cool. Go ahead and put in your information. We'll get a credit profile for you. All right, cool. Got your information. Let me show you a couple options. They can do a 3D tour. You want to schedule a tour? Fantastic. Go ahead and tell us when a good time is for you. So they go through this whole entire process, from a credit score, everything, through the chatbot, background check, the whole thing. And what that does is it eliminates a leasing agent, because a leasing agent used to be a person physically typing in on the other end of those little chat windows like, cool, let me show you our inventory. I don't need that. Right. And so the software that I made nationwide has been adopted by the top 300 apartment companies in America. Right. Like, I mean, this is now ubiquitous. We white label it, the whole thing. I've replaced 35,000 jobs this year. Right. 35,000 people off of roughly, I don't know, 600 hours of my work. I don't know what that does. You know, $50,000 in investment. So when you can pay me $50,000 to create a piece of software that can replace 35,000 people, we kind of need to have a discussion about the efficiency of these machines I'm making, because I'm not trying to be a dick. I don't want these people going out of work. Right. Like, I'm not like, it's not like the last time I went to an apartment leasing company, somebody like, I asked for a bottle of water and they brought me a can of Diet Coke instead. And I said, oh, you're going to pay for this. And for like the next 3 years, I had a vendetta until I finally found the opportunity to strike back against leasing agents because they handed me a Diet Coke instead of a water. Like, that wasn't my bent in life. So yeah, I think that those are the things that those are the unexpected jobs, right? Like, and you would think apartment leasing agent, and you're like, I wouldn't even consider that. But yeah, I guess they could kind of be replaced by these little chat windows. Because most of them keep like 1 or 2 leasing agents, but a lot of these apartment companies will have 10 if they have, 500 to 600 units, and they have a lot of leasing agents.
Oh man, well, that's something. Well, I mean, the robots will kill us, or the Republicans will. So either it's going to be one or the other. So we'll see what happens. All right. Well, I was hanging out with my brother, and he said, you're going to have Shane Morris on because, he was with us on the 24-hour stream. He said, you should ask him some desert island questions. Desert island questions are, you're on a desert island, and you can only take one thing with you, and we have categories, and you have to tell us what that one thing would be. Now, John, you feel free to play along here as well, but we'll see what's going on here. So we'll start off with some easy ones. I mean, they won't get much harder, but we'll see. All right, so now we can get to go with Shane Morris. I know you're a music fan, so we're just going to go down the list here. If you could take one rap or hip-hop album with you, you can only take one. That's the one you have to listen to for the rest of the time. What is that album going to be?
Wu-Tang 36 Chambers.
Okay, not a bad choice. I would ask John, but I don't know.
I don't know. I'm not a huge hip-hop fan, so, if I was going to take one...
Will Smith.
No. I'd probably go Thug's Mansion by Tupac.
Okay. Thug's Mansion. All right. One...
What about you?
Oh, me? One hip-hop album. Ooh, man, I haven't really thought about it, but I'd have to probably...
Kanye something or other.
I probably would. You know what? I would take Kanye, My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy. How about that? Yeah, that's a good answer.
Good album, yeah.
Oh, it's fantastic. I'm ready for his new album to drop, and hopefully it'll be better than the last one. We'll see. All right, one, and you can take this however you want. Rock. One rock album, Shane. One rock album. So that it could be, punk rock, classic rock, any kind of rock.
Man, I'm a hardcore Dawes fan, and so it would be tough for me to pick which Dawes album. North Hills, maybe. Yeah, I that's tough because like I'm a huge Dawes fan, and I have it's like choosing between like your children,
Right. Yeah. It's a tough one, of course.
Bands. Yeah, man, yeah, I guess I would go with North Hills. Yeah.
There you go. All right, North Hills. John, one rock album.
It'd be a toss-up. One of them, it's kind of almost a cheat.
It's not a toss-up, brother.
I know.
One choice.
I'm thinking out loud. And that's my process, okay?
Okay, go ahead.
It down.
Go ahead.
One of them would be like, it's almost a cheat, would be the...
Okay, but Lady Gaga is not a rock album, first of all.
Dang it.
Out of the way.
No, that limits that now.
No compilation album. It's got to be a band. It's got to be an album.
Okay, that takes care of it then.
You can't say...
August and everything after then.
John, August and everything after for Counting Crows. All right, that's interesting.
I was going to say the soundtrack for Empire Records, but that's kind of a compilation album.
I would give you that. I thought you were going to say... You remember those commercials used to come on? All right, if you really like 70s rock, call us over right now. A lot of
those songs on this, they're by different artists, but they still kind of sound the same.
Right. I definitely Beatles White Album. No doubt there. I watched that new McCartney on Hulu. with Rick Rubin. God, so good. All right, now we're going to go. Shay, I know you're going to love this one. One video game. One video game. So you get the video game and the video game system.
Okay, even though I'm a classic gamer, I have never played a game better than Red Dead Redemption 2. I still pick it up every now and then and play. It is the deepest game. I played it now 3 times through, and I still enjoy it.
Good answer. I just was playing that over quarantine, and now I'm just gonna confess. I mean, I don't know if my kids should be playing that because they're like 13 and 11, but they love that game. They play it all the time. I'm like, it's dicey, but whatever. So yeah, Red Dead's a good answer. John,
I would probably go with on the PlayStation 2 the a Spider-Man game. I can't remember the sub for it, but it's an open world concept, and there were a lot of things that you could probably play this game for several days and still not hit everything. So
that's not bad.
It seems like something I'd be able to keep going back to.
I think Red Dead's a really good answer. I would think also of Grand Theft Auto 5, which I absolutely love, but I gotta think I'm playing this game for the rest of my life, right? I know it's terrible, but when I was young, it's not terrible. It's not like I'm giving a bad game, but I think I have to go like with a Madden, like 2007. I used to play that game for 8 hours a day for months because you have franchise mode, and so you have different players that come and go, and you can just try to do stupid stuff. You could try to score 1,000 points or whatever, but I would have to go with a Madden. Probably the newest Madden would be fine for me. So, okay, you're stuck on. Let's do this one. One TV series. You get the entire TV series, entire TV run. Shane?
This is the easiest answer I come up with. I love The Wire. I think I've watched The Wire, no joke, 10 times through.
Yeah.
I would rather watch The Wire again than risk spending my time watching a new series that I'm not gonna like. That's how I was literally just watching. I picked up again to watch it. I don't know how many time through. I'm now on season 3 again. I always watch something new. I am an unabashed Wire stan. I listened the way down the whole podcast. I am the Wire without a doubt. I still think it's the best TV show to ever be made, and I never get tired of it.
Good answer. We did we had a tournament, like a March Madness tournament of TV series, and I petitioned so hard, and I got The Wire to be the winner of all of it. And the other dudes had never even seen The Wire before. And
I've seen it since.
Okay, you've seen it, but Wire's a good answer.
It's an excellent show.
John, what are you gonna pick?
I'm.
If you say Friends, I quit the podcast.
I'm going for. I'm gonna go for quantity over quality.
Okay.
And I'm gonna say Doctor Who, just so there's content for years and years and years. I've never seen a Doctor Who episode though, so it might be something I'd be kicking myself for. But I would say, I don't know how long I'm stuck there. So
I did not know you were a Doctor Who fan.
I'm not.
I've known you for.
I've never seen an episode.
You're picking a show you've never watched before, John.
Yes.
That is the wildest thing you could ever do.
I know it is.
I've watched
never
it.
seen Doctor Who.
Never seen Doctor Who.
I've seen it.
But
it's all right. I mean, I wouldn't take it with me.
My man's over here swiping right on Tinder and just hitting it raw, and just taking real risks in life.
Yeah, there you go.
That is the craziest thing I've ever. Like, you're literally picking something where you're just like, yeah, I have no idea. It could be the worst. It could be this. Okay, Wire's great, and I'm not gonna pick Wire because he picked it. Otherwise, I'm gonna seem like I'm copying him. But I will say about Wire real quick. Season 4 is my favorite season of all time, where it goes inside the school system. There is a scene with a kid in a hallway. It is one of the best scenes ever in any history, cinematic television history ever. Here's what I'm thinking. I love The Wire, probably a bit heavy. I'm like Tom Hanks, I'm on this desert island by myself. I don't need to be sad, so I'm going to want to laugh. And the show that makes me laugh the most, it's not even going to be Seinfeld. It's something I've recently just got my hooks into. I got to go with The Office. The American Office. I love it. There's always a new joke I catch every time I watch it, and there's like 9 seasons. So I think about The Wire,
I can watch The Office over and over again.
See, the Wire, if it was like 10 seasons, that you might be in on that, but it's only 5. In the 5th season's, it's all right. But I don't know. I'll have to go with The Office on that one. All right, now you can take one Billionaire with you on the island. They will be your sole companion until the day you die. Which billionaire are you taking on the island with you?
Oh, I'm going to take Jerry Jones, the owner of the Dallas
Good
Cowboys. So every single day I can wake up. How is this a PG? Is this a PG or
It's
okay,
it's
anyway.
R. Do whatever you want.
Yeah, I wake up every single day and slap the fuck out of Jerry Jones just so I can make myself feel better as a Cowboys fan. You know, like, thanks for ruining my life every day since 1995, you ass. It just, if I've got to be stuck on a desert island, I'm going to wake up and make myself feel better by slapping an octogenarian.
That's so good. It's a great answer. All right, John, do you have any billionaire?
I don't know enough billionaires to answer this question. I was talking today before the show. If Kim K is a billionaire at this point, I'd take her. But anybody else, I don't know.
I don't know if Kim K is, maybe, but I know her sister is. Kylie, I believe. So I think, once again, is Kylie going to like me at first? No, but after 20 years, I'm going to look like the greatest man on the planet because I am the only man on the planet. So I would probably pick that, but not picking girls. I don't know. Is Paul McCartney a billionaire? I don't know.
He's got to be. He owns the Beatles catalog.
Yeah, I think if I'm not picking a female, I just stuck it to dudes, I would definitely Paul McCartney just to pick his brain. He probably wouldn't last very long, so but hey, I could be there when he died. So
I didn't want to take away and say that I wasn't taking Jerry Jones's sexual thing either. He's very.
What part of his body are you slapping every morning? Is the question.
He's a leathery man. Okay, so let's see. I've got a few more. Let's just go with which movie? One movie. That's all you get. One movie you can watch for the rest of time. What's your movie you're taking?
For me, I gotta be. Wow. Okay, I'm gonna go with The Wizard of Oz. Still one of my favorite. If it's got to be something light that I could watch over and over, it's kind of like that thing of what can play in the background and won't bother you in a way, and I can sing to it. I need something I can sing along with. It would have to be a musical. So The Wizard of Oz satisfies it. And it's got a happy ending every single time. It's kind of like when I get a massage, right? No. Just kidding. No, it's just got a happy ending. That's it. Yeah.
I mean, you changed my mind. I was going with one. You mentioned. I'd probably go with Moulin Rouge.
Moulin Rouge. There you go. Oh man, I don't know if I could do a musical. I think I'd probably just bash my brains out. I mean, I understand the concept, and Wizard of Oz is a pretty good one, but I'm gonna have to go with one movie. I think I've seen probably. Oh, this is so tough, man. This is the toughest one because I love movies, and I'm thinking like one direction, but then I'm gonna go this direction. And what movie have I seen the most? Oh God, I don't know. I'm just gonna say Back to the Future because every time I watch Back to the Future, I love the movie. But it takes me back to being a kid. I wanted to be Michael J. Fox. I think it's fun enough. It's goofy enough. So I think I'd go Back to the Future.
That's a good answer.
So,
yeah. And there's a Back to the Future thing that I'm checking this off my bucket list this year. This will happen. I'm not sure what part of the year it's going to happen in, but I still want an 80s lifted Toyota Tacoma, like the black Tacoma hardbody Toyota. I have to have one just like the one from Back to the Future. I'm a grown-ass man now. I'm going to do this for myself no matter what it takes. I'm sure my neighbors are going to think I'm, redneck as hell, but, it's just something I have to do.
Go fund me.
It is the coolest movie vehicle. There are cool movie cars, Batmobile, the whole thing.
Yeah. That's
the coolest movie vehicle.
It is pretty cool. Even my kids watched it and were like, that's a pretty cool truck. I was like, yeah, it is pretty cool. I mean, I thought you were going to say the DeLorean. I was like, surely.
No, that's the crazy part. Is the DeLorean is the second coolest vehicle in Back to the Future.
That's true. Yeah, I would take either. I mean, yeah, you're right, but that is
I'll take the manure truck.
We got a few things from the chat. Someone said they would take Led Zeppelin, Houses of the Holy for their album. The game would be The Witcher 3, and another person said they would take Centipede. That's an old school game there. And the game John's talking about, it's called Ultimate Spider-Man. So that's Stuck on a Desert Island. Just a few quick ones there. That was it's a fun little way to get someone's kind of inner psychology, work together. So, All right. Well, I guess we've come up to an hour, man. It went fast.
That really quick.
You know, Shane, I would say this. We need to get you on more often. If you're up for that, we would be down for it as well. It was a blast. So what do you want to plug on your way out? Where should people follow you? What should they do? Tell us all that fun stuff.
All right, yeah. The TikTok account is probably the easiest place to find me. It's shanemorrisdotsucks on TikTok. The last thing I want to plug, because I'm here and I don't know, I'm sure our audience is pretty progressive. Please go get vaccinated. You know, don't listen to the insane people. You'll be fine. The average American has been vaccinated for polio and MMR and Tdap and hepatitis A and hepatitis B and all these other things. You've been vaccinated for everything. You just don't think about it. Go get vaccinated again for this other thing. There will always be another thing you have to get vaccinated for. Please, because I have a 14-month-old who can't get vaccinated for my frickin' kid. Please, even though it's a big scary needle and I am an adult who is terrified of needles, I am me, the tattooed guy. I know I'm terrified of. Please go get vaccinated, and then this nonsense can be over, and I can go back to jerking off in public. Like, I mean, just I can go back to working out in public like I used to.
There you go. That is a solid way to wrap up the program.
Yeah.
I couldn't agree with you more. I could go off on that all day, but yes, go get your freaking shots, people. Just get it done. So yes, go follow Shane on TikTok. He'll go find him on the next social media platform. Shane, you're just the best, dude. We're so glad you want to come be part of the show. Quick notes: we will not be here next week. John's going on vacations. We talked about earlier. And then the week after that, we will have in studio with us Georgia English, who will be promoting her album. So that's going to be a lot of fun. You know all the ways to get in touch with us: the website, social media, blah, 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 bybpod.com. That's it, John. With all that being said, is there anything else?
Don't blame yourself when you can blame your brother.
Shane.
Good show, guys.
Oh, wait.
That was fun, man.
Yeah, it was, man. Thanks for coming on.
Yeah. I could smell my casserole. I was making a casserole while this was going on.
When you're with your description of your new job,